Hello, and welcome back to my channel. How are you doing today? Hopefully better than OP, whose father gave OP's college fund money to his stepdaughter. Well, some people definitely don't think that blood is thicker than water. Listen to the story, guys, to find out why OP's father made such a decision, and of course, to hear my opinion on the matter. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I, female 16, have always been talking to my father about college since I was in diapers. My whole life revolves around the Ivies, and my schoolwork has made it clear. And because of that, my dad decided to create a student trust fund because my future looked very promising from a young age. I took several dual enrollment and IB courses and 14 AP classes, and by the time I'd reached what would have been my junior year, I had already gotten all of my credits needed to graduate this year. My father, male 64, and mother, female 56, divorced when I was about 13. The reason why I put quotations around divorced is because they're extremely religious, therefore could never officially split. However, my mother and I did move out, and my parents established some form of split custody rules. Nevertheless, my father did fall in love with another woman and remarried, which meant her children would become part of our family. This is where my stepsister, female 18, comes in. As was stated previously, since I had essentially skipped a grade, my stepsister and I, let's call her Monica for the sake of the story, were now both entering our senior year. When college application season arrived, she had applied to NYU, UGA, U of A, and Auburn, solely for their Greek life, and I had applied to Columbia, Harvard, Brown, Duke, Stanford, UCLA, and UC Berkeley, Princeton, and Yale, only being waitlisted by both UCs and rejected from Duke. As most people would, I almost immediately committed to Harvard, while Monica was committing to Auburn. I rushed downstairs to grab my phone and call my dad. However, I was greeted with an impending silence over the phone. He proceeded to tell me that he wasn't sure how to pay for my college, as all of the money he'd saved for me over the years were to be used to pay for Monica's college. He then proceeded to tell me that good Greek life and sororities can't be found in any regular college, and that I could learn how to be an engineer from any college, and that Monica couldn't get as good opportunities for networking at a community college, but I would be able to pay off my college debt faster anyways, since I was going into a higher paying field, and she was going to study an elementary school education. I couldn't even stand to be on the phone with him anymore. I hung up the phone and haven't spoken to him since April. I didn't invite him to my graduation. I didn't wish him a happy birthday. I didn't even tell him when I moved into my college dorm. My siblings are all trying to tell me to stop being so hard on him, but I really cannot find it in my heart to forgive him after he gave away my college savings, which we've been adding money into since I was 4, to some nobody he's only known for 3 years. Wow, what a slap in the face. Poor OP. I will never understand parents who prioritize their stepkids over their real kids. He admitted that he spent OP's college fund on his stepdaughter, so she could be a sorority girl, and that it was okay, because OP is smart and can get a good job to pay off her uni fees. He prioritized her social life over OP's education, and didn't even bother to tell OP until she called him. Hell, he didn't even split it. OP should tell him to enjoy the relationship with his stepdaughter, since he will never have one with OP again. OP's siblings are also wrong for diminishing how upset OP is over this. OP has every right to be upset and go no contact with her father. And now let's see if the community agrees with me. Napalmo Pilkington says, "Not the a-hole. He showed how much he cares. He took your money for college and gave it to someone else. The choices he made have consequences. He has to own up to it, and until he does, you stick to your guns." Zesty Close Meeting 8 says, "Not the a-hole. Don't let him crush your dreams, though. Look into bursaries and scholarships and student loans. Pursue that dream, and leave your dad and stepsister in the dust. Also, don't forgive him. You can't forgive someone who isn't sorry." Betty Anders says, "Not the a-hole. You have every right to be angry and cut him out of your life. College for an actual education has obviously been important to you your entire life. To give your college fund away to your stepsister, I won't comment on how screwed up that situation is a major jerk move. I personally would probably not be able to forgive that. He has jeopardized your future for this girl to have a good time. How much networking does an elementary school teacher need to do? That's ridiculous." I'll preface this by saying that I, 33 male, am a widower. My wife Elle died 3 years ago due to hemorrhaging after giving birth to our twins, D and S. We had one son, male, 6 years ago, and married shortly after college. I've been successful in my career, as was my wife, so I guess one might call us upper middle class. After Elle died, my sister moved in. My wife and I agreed she could stay with us during college 3 months before twins were born. My sister was 19 at the time, and her university was less than a mile from our home. Although I'm still thankful to this day, Sis helped me hire a nanny, a housekeeper, and would even watch my twins and my son, 6-year-old, on occasion. Wife had worked remotely, so we never needed them before and split the cooking and housework 50-50. Except the yard. I have horrible allergies, so I pay for a service. I had the money, and to show my appreciation, I paid for her tuition and fees. Fast forward. It's been 3 years later. Sis will graduate summa cum laude and has several job offers. I'm very proud of her. She's helped me on weekends when I was forced to go out of town and watch the children. Nanny and housekeeper only work Monday through Friday. I don't think I need a nanny or housekeeper when I'm there to take care of the children or cook, clean up. Problem: my brother-in-law, 23 male, is demanding that I pay his tuition, housing, etc. He says he deserves it because it is what his sister would have wanted. He does not live with me, nor has he ever helped me with his nephews and niece. He just expects it. I've gotten several awkward phone calls from my wife's family because he is telling everyone that I am paying. Am I the a-hole if I say no? I don't understand. Why would OP be an a-hole when all brother-in-law has done to OP and his family is ask for money? OP has given money to his sister because he got something in return, which would also be given to someone else to do the things for OP. If OP's wife was alive, maybe OP would have helped him, even if he didn't do anything. But OP's income is half what it would be, and OP would still have to spend money on himself and his children. Let's see what the community thinks about the situation. Hanging out with you says, not the a-hole. Your sister was providing a service in exchange for education. Bartering. Your brother-in-law has nothing to barter with. I am curious how he knows about your financial arrangement with your sister, though, since finances are nobody else's business. Besides, you have to save up for your children's college now anyways. Kitten with a Whip 987 says, not the a-hole, and what the duck? Hey, I've never met you or done a darn thing for you, but I could really use a new car. No, just hell no. Ikaru 101 says, not the a-hole, it's your money. And as far as I'm aware, if your wife wanted him to have the money, she could have specified that in her will. My girlfriend, 31 female, and I, 36 male, have been together for about 2 years now. We live together. About 9 months ago, I picked up running as a hobby and have since grown quite fond of it. I currently run an average of 25 miles a week. A few months ago, I decided I wanted to try a 5K or 10K, and after some Google searching, found a 5K in my city that looked fun. I registered for it, paid the fee, and decided to start training specifically for it. I mentioned it in passing to my girlfriend that night, and she asked if she could come too. I was psyched about the idea of running a 5K with her and said yes, but warned her that she would probably want to start training because I was going for a sub 27-minute time, which might be tough for a complete beginner. She said she would like to train with me, which again sounded fun. The next morning I woke up at 5 a.m. for my run as I usually do, but my girlfriend was not up for it and told me she'd go later. This continued for a week, and then 2 weeks, and finally I managed to get her up once for a run. She was miserable the entire time, and I basically didn't get any exercise. Last Friday, the day before the race, I asked if she was really up for it. She insisted she was. She then told me that she would just skip gallop it, like she used to do her mile runs in middle school. I asked her to demonstrate what a skip gallop was, and she showed me this bizarre sidestepping gallop, as if she had casts on her legs. I told her it seemed like a really inefficient way to run, but she insisted it always worked for her. Saturday was the day of the race, and right out of the gate, she utilized her skip gallop strategy. 2 minutes in, I realized that she was already completely gassed. She started asking me to wait so we could walk together. I apologized, told her I loved her, and left her behind to finish the race. I ended up with a time of 26 minutes 43 seconds, beating my goal. After the race, I tried calling her, but she wouldn't pick up. When I made my way back to the car, I realized she had left me. I took an Uber home, and right when I walked in the door, I was met with crying, shrieking about how I ditched her. I tried to calm her down and explain that she kind of brought it on herself, but she was not interested whatsoever. Yesterday, she gave me the silent treatment all day. Do I deserve what I'm getting here? OP is definitely not in the wrong here. First of all, she was the one who didn't make an effort and exercise. She's acting like an entitled princess. Just because they are in a relationship doesn't mean OP has to wait for her. She knew she was not ready to run in a 5K. Let's see what the community says. Teresa JS says, not the a-hole. She chose to invite herself. She chose not to prepare. And she chose to make a fool of herself with her crazy method of running. This is all on your girlfriend. I'm glad you had your phone and/or wallet and were able to get home after she abandoned you. How I Really Feel says, not the a-hole. Skip Gallop. Had there been previous indications she was crazy? Ton NSS says, not the a-hole. You had a goal, told her well in advance. She shouldn't have ran with you if she knew that she wasn't going to be able to keep up. Background. Split from ex and have 2 kids with her, both of primary school age. Due to a business windfall, we both live mortgage-free in our own homes. She works 3 days a week. The kids stay with me those 3 days. I work from home. We split the cost of the kids' stuff pretty evenly, agree a joint budget for Christmas and birthdays, split the costs of uniforms, clothes, activities, etc. I also pay her an extra £500 a month on top of this towards the running costs of her house, as she can only work part-time and she's keeping a roof over my kids' heads. She has a long-term boyfriend who is a mutual friend. No issues with this, and he has nothing to do with our breakup. She has said to me that they're talking about moving in together. He has a tendency to become a bit of a freeloader, which we discussed and she is aware of, and I know she isn't the sort of woman to take any crap like that. So I said that if they went ahead, then I would stop paying her the £500 a month and just stick it in the kids' savings accounts. But if things didn't work out and she kicked him out, that I would start paying again. She was perfectly happy with this, as long as I carried on contributing towards the kids as I had. I'm pretty sure if she had an issue, she would have said so. She doesn't take crap and isn't shy about making her displeasure known. A few weeks go by, and I hear nothing much about it. Then I get a phone call from a friend who tears strips off me, saying that I'm trying to blackmail my ex into splitting up with her fella, and it's controlling and financial aggression, and that I'm all the wankers under the sun. It turns out that he is saying that I'm threatening to cut off my ex and the kids off if she moves in with him. I speak to the ex, and she said that he went off the deep end when she was asking him about his contribution to living there, and that he said she didn't need money from him as she was getting money from me. When she said that money was stopping and what she did get was for the kids, he started having a strop about being expected to support another guy's kids. To my mind, we have joint custody, and I'm doing my fair share of supporting the kids, and that whilst it was fair that I support her while she can only work part-time, I don't feel an obligation to do so if she's moved another partner in. Our friends are split on the subject as to whether I'm right or not. For what it's worth, the ex says she doesn't expect money from me for her if someone else moves in. So am I the a-hole here? Update. Had a long convo with my ex about this afternoon. She is 100% okay with me stopping paying the extra if someone else moves in. She's also said that she's reconsidering if letting him move in is the right move for her and the kids. Apparently, she's also put our other friend in their place for having a go at me based on half of the story, as her boyfriend had indeed gone and told them a pack of lies, basically. Also, thanks for all the comments about our co-parenting. It took us a long time to get to this point, but apparently, being able to send me back to my own house makes spending time with me much easier for her. We didn't have a bad breakup. We just realized we were more like 2 friends raising kids together than a proper couple. OP is definitely not in the wrong here. He supports his kids. He has no obligation to support this man. If he wants to move in with OP's ex, her expenses should decrease, as he should be paying some form of rent to her. Her owning her home doesn't entitle him to being a freeloader. This isn't financial aggression from OP, but from him. Amara Undone says, Mr. Freeloader isn't paying for the kids. He's contributing to the expenses of the house he lives in. He's just angry because he wanted you to foot the bill for him. Sounds like your ex has found herself a real prize, not the a-hole. Lawnmower owner says, not the a-hole. It seems the only people who have problems with this are people it really doesn't concern. It makes sense to me. If there's 2 wages going into the household, then they don't need the extra money. LeechIM92 says, not the a-hole. 100% not the a-hole. It doesn't need explaining here. Your friend needs to hear your side. I hope your ex sees sense and breaks up with her boyfriend. Sounds like a freeloader. A bit of context. My mother-in-law grew up in a wealthy family. She had a pony as a child, and her father ran a number of successful car dealerships. By the time she was 17, she received a new car every year on her birthday. When she finished her first year of college, her parents sent her to Europe to go backpacking in a brand new Volkswagen Beetle convertible for 2 months. After her parents passed away, she inherited a substantial amount, but followed the advice of her older brother and invested. She is out of touch with the costs of living. She has a professional assistant who does all her shopping. Last night, while looking on while her grandchildren were playing, she commented that my eldest daughter needs a new iPad. Her current one is the 6th gen. So, without asking, she starts the online ordering process for the latest iPad. But not just any iPad, but an iPad Pro with all the whistles and bells, roughly $1,600. And then says that I will pay her back when it arrives. When I told her to stop and that she was overstepping, then the crap really hit the fan. She starts going on about how my children are going without, and how this will negatively affect them as they get older. In reality, they don't go without. My wife, who wasn't there at the time, and I provide well for our children, meeting all of their needs and selectively granting their wants. They are fed nutritious food, clothed well, and attend a good school. We can't afford to buy the iPad, but in my opinion, it's an unnecessary purchase. One of my girls is learning soccer and dance, her choice, and the other is now a black belt in TKD, again, her choice. But in their grandmother's mind, they're missing out. They don't go skiing in Vermont or take horseback riding lessons or own a pony. The argument escalated quickly, with her son, firstborn, coming to her rescue. He's forever borrowing money from his mom. I was being ungrateful and boorish, so I packed up the kids and left. Upon arriving home, she left 5 voicemails on our answering machine. They start out cordial, directed to my wife, and rapidly go downhill. She has no concept of what she's doing and the consequences. Am I the a-hole for putting my foot down and stopping this behavior before it gets out of control? More info. My wife doesn't want to stir up trouble with the mother-in-law. She doesn't like confronting her mom. For me, this was one step too far over the line. This is where am I the a-hole stems from. New update. The brother-in-law has been texting me all day, questioning my decision to not let his mom help me. He bragged that she purchased a new iMac for his daughter a few weeks back, for school, but keep in mind the school supplied Chromebooks to every student for virtual learning. His reasoning is that she won't have to squint at a smaller screen. Mommy Dearest dropped $5,000 plus. Oh, and she's 11. If I didn't love my wife so much, I'd head to the hills. There was no indication they were this way while dating, or when we first married. My wife's reasoning is that her mother is elderly and won't be with us much longer. At first, I thought OP could just ignore her or something, until she said OP could pay her back for the iPad she was ordering. OP was 100% correct to put a stop to that right there and then. No one has a right to obligate you to spend money like that, whether you can afford it or not. Good for OP for putting his foot down. Let's hear the community's opinion. Anarchy Shift says, not the a-hole. It's your kids, and assuming you'll pay up to $1.6K in the blink of an eye is embarrassingly out of touch. Clarice 1984 says, not the a-hole. Protect your daughters from being spoiled rotten and ending up like that, and protect yourself from being tricked or forced into debt. Yeah, waste a fortune on every new version gadget that comes out is one of the most disgusting trends of the 21st century. Commercial Wallaby 9 says, not the a-hole. Mother-in-law can't make decisions on $1,600 purchases and say you'll pay her back. Even on $20, there should be a discussion first. And especially with technology. Even if it was going to be a gift, you and your wife might have views on how much access, etc. you want your kids to have. It's the kind of thing that needs to be run by you first. Sounds like you and your wife need to talk to ensure you're on the same page there. Could mother-in-law have been getting different signals from your wife?